He's a really great filmmaker, and I wish that he had full control over all of this.
I wish that he didn't have to make these movies anymore. I want him to go back to making movies. Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello.
I don't know if the Black Panther video that we just made is going to come out before this because I don't know. Copyright is crazy. So you may be thinking, damn, they're going to shit on Black Panther again.
You thought wrong.
But you also thought right at the same time because I think we both think that this movie's a mixed bag, right?
I'm more positive than I am negative with it because I had such a great time and I was smiling throughout the entire film, even though, like, we'll get to it.
Well, I guess, yeah, let's just talk about the beginning. We had talked about not knowing if they were going to explain how he died in the actual continuity of the universe. And I thought that if you explained it, it would be stupid. But Ryan Coogler does a really good job in this movie when it comes to addressing Chadwick's absence throughout the film. I think out of all the things that work really well in this film, it's that.
It's tastefully done.
Yeah, it's tastefully done. It kind of makes sense. The fact that, Killmonger destroyed all the plants or whatever, and I guess the flowers don't keep you as Black Panther forever. No pun intended.
From my point of view, I thought that these flowers, you take it one time, it'll make illnesses not kill you and stuff like that. That's what I interpreted from the first movie. Maybe I'm wrong, but that kind of like took me out a little bit when they said, oh, he just has an illness. I was like, oh, I thought the heart shape herb made illnesses not happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
I'm assuming that the way that they explained it, you have to keep doing it because there's a way to take it away. They have a way to remove the effects. So
yeah,
if it can be removed through something else, then it could probably just have a shelf life, I assume, which is why they probably need the suit, in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But getting too deep into semantics, getting around that and that sort of making sense, and then how they got around the recast because motherfuckers would not shut up about recasting Black Panther.
Really?
Yes, it's a thing on Twitter. Recast T'Challa. Like, there's.
I had no idea. What the fuck? Really?
Yeah, people really want T'Challa to be recast, and I'm like, what? He just died. He literally just died. Be normal. And they were like, well, you could treat it like James Bond or Batman or whatever the fuck. And it's like, well, they didn't recast Joker in fucking the Dark Knight trilogy. And also the mid credit or I guess the end credit scene. There's only one post credit. There's too many fucking names for that shit. The fact that Lupita has a kid with T'Challa, and then they named their kid T'Challa. So, like, in the future, we're going to have a T'Challa.
Another T'Challa.
Yeah. Which I was like, damn, genius. I wasn't even thinking about the idea of Nakia having a kid. There were a lot of things I wasn't thinking about, apparently, while watching this movie. Like, fucking Killmonger coming back, because he's technically an ancestor.
I was like, oh, Killmonger's going to come right now. Once she went into the, what's it called?
Ancestral plane.
Yeah. I was like, that's going to be Killmonger. He's going to have a whole spiel about vengeance and all that. And I was like, yeah, there we go.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Did your theater clap at that part? Or at all, I guess? Or not really?
There wasn't clapping, but there was motherfuckers who were just being annoying. Like, there was a guy next to me who, first of all, was just like sniffling like it was nobody's business. But then whenever something cool would happen in the movie, he'd go, yeah.
What the
It was
fuck?
so weird. He was like, Ironheart, yeah. But I guess he doesn't go to the movies very often because at a certain point during the trailers, he was like, start the movie. And I'm like, they haven't even started playing the Disney movies yet. Like, come on, brother. And then there was a guy in my theater who, it was one of those theaters where it's not like the regular seats, it's like the luxury seating. So like there's like a barrier between rows, you know what I mean? And it's elevated. So there was a guy in the back row. Whenever something crazy would happen, just like the guy who went, he'd go, oh shit, and then go over to his friend and start explaining something. And then once the movie ended, he was like reviewing the movie. And you know how quiet this movie is when it ends, and he's just reviewing the movie. He's like, it's not as good as the first one, obviously, and blah, blah, blah. And he just kept going about all this bullshit and talking about nerd shit that no one cares about. It was so weird.
Yeah, people are weird. That's very strange.
People be fucking, like, not normal. Like, be normal.
Just watch the movie and get out. what the fuck?
Yeah. And this was before the post-credit scene.
I don't like audiences, but luckily this time my audience was very tame.
How did you feel about the opening Marvel logo?
I thought it was really well done. That's the same one that they used in, I want to say, What If for Chadwick. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's nice. But during this whole movie, I didn't really cry at all. I got really sad, but I wasn't like bawling my eyes out like a lot of people in the theater. But I don't think I really had an attachment to Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther like that. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I didn't either, but I still got emotional. I think I cried at 2 parts in the movie, or maybe 3, but it wasn't like bawling. It was just, you know, that single tear thing. So in the teaser trailer, Angela Bassett is like talking to someone, and she says,
have I not lost everything? Stuff like that.
I want to do Keke Palmer doing an impression of her so badly.
I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
In the trailer itself is emotional, right?
But then seeing it in theaters, oh,
in the
my
theater,
God.
in the context of the scene with the Koge, you know, she failed her and everything, and it's like, that's the best scene in the movie to me. That just fucked me up, and I knew exactly what she was gonna say, but like seeing her completely say it, because in the trailer, you know, there's cutting between her from other scenes, and then that scene, and then, you know, other shit in the movie, so you don't really get to like watch her do it. And so watching her do it in the context of it, and seeing Okoye's reaction and the silence of it all,
it's super well done. I love it.
and I think silence is one of the movie's strengths, because they don't lead with the music in the beginning when T'Challa dies, and, you know, the opening thing, you don't hear the Marvel theme song or whatever the fuck. And then, you know, the final scene.
Oh, and she just remembers like her brother and stuff, and it was just quiet.
Yeah.
Very good choice.
I mean, because like, what are you gonna do, put music?
Some movies would put music. You already know they would.
Furious 7 did it.
Yeah, they did.
And I didn't cry for that, but I cried for the final scene of this movie.
Dang, I cried during Furious 7 really hard. That shit hit me like a rock. But also, speaking of sound throughout this movie, do you remember the opening sequence with Namor's people, and they were on the ship, and it was the siren call throughout the whole
that was
sequence?
so cool.
At first, I thought that was just the music for like the scene overall, but then they showed that it was the siren call, and I was like, this is incredible. This is amazing. I don't know whose idea that was, but
have you read that Black Panther number 200 comic, blah blah blah? It's probably in the comics, but that shit was so cool.
That was so well done. I was like, good job, Ryan Coogler. You're great.
It was giving The Happening vibes, but like good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, remember in The Happening when motherfuckers are just walking off the building?
Yeah.
I thought that shit was so cool. It was great. I think even the score in this film is better than the one in the previous film. Hot take.
That's not a hot take. The score in the previous film was trash, Loki.
It's Oscar winning, though. It's the Oscar winning score. It was the best music of that year, apparently, in a movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
Those fucking trumpets and shit. But the score in this film is so cool. I guess you hear it in the official trailer, not the teaser, but the official trailer at the end when you see Shuri as Black Panther and you hear the...
Speaking of the sirens again real quick, though, they really drown motherfuckers. Like, good lord. That's so dark.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, they're really just jumping to drown? They had, like, this presence to them that, like, oh, shit, you can't fuck with them.
Yeah, and Namora was cool. I liked her.
Yeah.
I think she had the best design out of all the characters in the movie, to be honest.
Speaking of design, about these, what are they called? Talcoins? I forgot the name of it, but whatever. Namor's people. They are way too similar to the Na'vi in Avatar. I said, this Avatar comes out next month. Maybe you guys should have chosen like a different color.
Yeah, but blue is cool.
Blue is cool, but like, I don't know. That's some friendly fire right there.
Maybe closer to green.
Yeah, I was thinking like a green would have been cool. Well, at least it's like a different color. It's not just like the same colors we always see besides Avatar.
Well, I guess we're just going to stay on the design portion of the film. Ironheart? She looking like a fucking Gundam, bro. What was that?
You can fly on those tiny little wings so fast. Is that a Gundam? I don't like it.
I think that's low-key comics accurate. I'm not 100% sure. I never read an Ironheart comic. I'm not really a fan of the Ironheart
but the texture,
Yeah, it did look like a Gundam.
she looks so smooth and not in a good way. It was like what Iron Man's suit became in a derogatory way. And then what was the suits that Okoye and what's her name had at the end? Something Midnight
Ooh,
or
like
whatever the fuck.
midnight armor, midnight something else. Yeah, those look rough.
So bad. And I guess we can just talk about the third act because fuck it.
Yeah. The third act ruins this movie.
It is the exact opposite of what the beginning of this movie is.
Mhm.
And it feels so jarring and awful.
The whole movie itself was like focused for the first hour 45, and then the next hour 15 minutes it's just Marvel CGI bullshit.
It becomes a mess in mostly every way. Once Namor invades Wakanda and then leaves, like that's when the movie starts being bad. Because when he invades, the visual effects just stop being passable.
Yeah, they dip in quality so rapidly, it's crazy.
Then Angela Bassett dies,
Mhm.
which is fine, but I think it just didn't feel like she died. She was trying to save Riri, and then she was just floating in the water, and then that was it, I guess. It felt weird. So, like, then that happens, and then everyone sort of splits apart, and then we get this montage for some reason. Like, the movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes, so there was a lot of scenes written, and probably even more scenes that were cut. So Ryan Coogler had a lot that he wanted to say. There were a lot of scenes, and for the most part, every scene in the movie got their due until that moment. And then we see scenes that feel half-baked and felt like they were being cut around.
It's so jarring, and it's like, do you think Kevin Feige really stepped in and said, hey, we have to do this way?
He probably said the movie was too long because
This man's never seen a movie besides his own movie.
I mean, like, think about it. Like, the scene when Okoye, like, recruits her friend, that scene didn't feel like a real scene because the beginning of the scene felt like it was cut, and then there was moments in between that were cut because they were intercutting with other stuff into a sequence, into a montage, and it didn't feel...
What, like organic in a way?
Yeah, it didn't feel organic. It didn't feel fully fleshed out as a scene. It felt like the highlights of that scene were left in the movie. And that whole montage feels like that. It felt like that moment in rom-coms when the couple splits apart and then you have the obligatory montage.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, that's a really good connection. Oh my god.
That's what it was.
It really was.
There weren't full real scenes. I feel like they could have just cut the stuff with Okoye and her friend out and all that, you know, that suit bullshit, and just made her a part of the army again or whatever, and like reinstated her as a general, and then we just move on and I don't have to see that ugly ass suit with that ugly ass background.
Yeah.
It would have been great if I didn't have to see that. But I guess, again, as you brought up Kevin Feige, we probably needed to see something from the comics so then we can get some dumbass fucking Wakanda miniseries or some shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe there'll be an Ironheart, or maybe they could have just done that shit in Ironheart. I don't know. Just a thought.
It's super weird. Super weird. It's weird though, because also like in the third act finale, there are moments where you can tell Ryan Coogler is really like, oh, I want to make a real movie, when Shuri's fighting Namor and they talk about like vengeance and he gets the connection with his mom and stuff like that. And that felt very Ryan Coogler-esque, but then everything around it is just the Marvel bullshit.
That whole fight was just weird. Not even just the filmmaking from the entire third act felt weird. Like, the actual sequence of events, the plot, the fighting itself felt weird to me. He, like, stabbed her in the stomach. He completely penetrated her body.
And there's no blood ever in these movies. It's so weird.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
This is a bloodless movie.
Shuri has a nosebleed maybe and a black eye. But if you're gonna get stabbed through the stomach and no blood at all, like, I don't know. It takes me out.
Yeah.
He's a really great filmmaker, and I wish that he had full control over all of this.
I wish that he didn't have to make these movies anymore. I want him to go back to making movies. Because Fruitvale Station and fucking Creed are so good.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if our Black Panther video that we just made is out already, but we also reviewed Black Panther when it came out, and I was very harsh on it, and I still am. I'm even more harsh on it now than I was when we originally reviewed it, and I'm only harsh on it because Ryan Coogler is so good in his previous non-Marvel projects, and he's an artist that should be, you know, supported and nurtured, and you want to see him grow, and in this film he does grow. But when it comes to the third act, of these fucking movies, it becomes a fucking issue. And he has to fulfill the Marvel obligation.
It's the same shit in every superhero movie nowadays. It's so weird.
I wrote this in my Letterboxd review, but I'm just going to repeat it anyway. Maybe in the other films, the final epic fight may have seemed like an eye-rolling but understandable obligation to the genre, but this film shows it truly is an issue Marvel's going to have to contend with in the future, an issue they probably should have come to terms with for this film.
Big agree. Wow.
Because like this film is about something, not just what's going on in the universe of the film, but it's about, you know, this meta thing. And people are expecting, you know, the big fights and shit, but this film didn't have to be that. It didn't. The conclusion that the film comes to is great when it comes to, you know, vengeance, but we could have just gotten that resolution without that big final fight.
Yeah.
If you wanted a big fight, it was when Namor invaded
Went into
Wakanda.
Yeah.
That could have been it. And then we could have gotten a real movie after that.
I feel like the Hogs would be so pissed, though.
Fuck the Hogs.
Yeah, honestly, fuck them, like 100%. But this movie, I feel like, would have been received so poorly if the Hogs didn't get their final CGI fight, which sucks, but...
It wasn't even, like, that great, either. Like, nothing really happened in that fight. It was just a weird sequence of events. We needed to have Ironheart have her moments, and then the Midnight, whatever the fuck, have their moments.
Mhm.
And I guess M'Baku's in the movie, and, like, at a certain point, you're like, why aren't these people just crashing the fucking ship? You guys are in the water. And then they finally do it. None of it felt important in relation to anything. And the only thing that felt important was Shuri versus Namor. But it just felt obligatory. That's all it felt like.
Let's talk about Namor and how he's great in this movie, and I love him a lot.
There's things that I like and things that I dislike about the presentation of his character. I like how they built him up, but... Every time he was floating on his fucking ankle feathers, the background just looks so fucking bad.
I think the one time I noticed it looks like really terrible was the big Wakanda invasion part. But when he first showed up at the watering hole with the elephants and stuff, they hid it in the darkness, and I was like, okay, this is passable.
Yeah. Sometimes the visual presentation of his character I didn't like, but during his backstory when they were explaining his name, I was like, okay, cool. His name is Namor, you know, no love. But I think that his character didn't have enough development, if that makes sense. Like, they explained a lot of his character through montage and flashbacks, and that stuff was cool. But in that time, we could have still gotten character stuff, because, like, when he sees the conquistadors in, I think it's Mexico or some other fucking place, but, you know, he saw them. I didn't get a sense of how he felt about it until after, and also because it was a child actor. That's another thing, too. But there could have been more to his character, and it just felt like there wasn't, and sometimes his character felt one note, and I wish they would have explored his character and the politics of his character more in the film. And this movie's long enough as it is, but also there's just unnecessary shit in the movie, and that's mostly in the third act, so there was space for it. But yeah, I liked him as a villain. I really loved the approach that Ryan Coogler had for most of this movie. The fact that we were on a lot of real locations. What a concept. Which is crazy because the lighting is gorgeous in the first, 2/3 of this movie. In the first film, there's this like orange hue, and the warm hue exists because of what this film was supposed to mean to people, and it's like warm and it's inviting, and even though the movie looks like shit, but that was the point of using that color for the lighting. In the sequel, in this film, there's this blue, like stark white hue to the lighting. And not only does it look immensely better, but also there are a lot of shadows in this movie, unlike the fucking first movie. I rewatched the Spielberg documentary on HBO, and the thing that made him stand out is that he decided to shoot on real locations, and he wanted to shoot Jaws actually in the ocean when they could have shot it in a studio, in a back lot, in a pool and all that stuff. And it would have looked like, those scenes back in the day when people used to drive cars in movies and you'd see the rear screen projector and all that shit. But he wanted to shoot it for real.
And they called him crazy.
Yeah, they called him crazy. And there was this whole era of movies being shot on location. And then we've sort of reverted back to the pre-Jaws era And I feel like this film is the tug of war between those two modes of blockbuster filmmaking. And Kevin Feige doesn't understand that. And I don't think he'll ever understand it. All the negatives about this film are
Kevin Feige's fault.
Kevin Feige's fault, yes. And it's the monster that he created.
I feel like something huge has to happen with these movies, maybe like from a critical standpoint or a financial standpoint, for him to like actually take notice and change something. But as it is right now, I feel like he's not gonna change his ways at all. I don't know.
If the wheel's broke, but it's still making money, don't fix it, I guess. So I want to end with some of the performances. Angela Bassett fucking carries this movie.
Oh, for sure.
She has the best scene in the movie. She has the best performance in the movie. And every time we saw her in the movie, you can feel the weight of T'Challa's death on
Chadwick's
her.
death.
Yeah. And every time she opened her mouth, like...
her lip did the thing, like Keke Palmer said.
Yes, it's all in the lips. It's all in the lips. People are going to talk about, these villain performances, Robert Downey Jr. and blah, blah, blah for the best performances in the MCU. And I feel like we should be talking about Angela Bassett whenever people have that dumbass conversation, because she fucking killed it. Like, this was the first time in a while that I've watched one of these movies and I've been like impressed, like genuinely fucking impressed by the acting.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to give Angela Bassett an Oscar nom for Best Supporting Actor,
it's definitely happening. 100%.
I wouldn't protest at all. I mean, like the fact that, again, like I said before, a line that she says in the teaser, word for word, I heard it in the movie and it still made me cry. Like, that's the power of Angela Bassett. And I feel like, I don't know if this may be a hot take for you, but Letitia Wright wasn't as great in this movie as she needed to be.
She had her moments, the beginning and every time something about T'Challa was brought up. But no, I see what you're saying.
I think she's had a better performance. And when I knew that she was going to be the protagonist of this film, I was assuming that we were going to get a performance on the level of what she did in Mangrove, which is one of the small axe films from Steve McQueen from 2020. She carries that movie and her performance is amazing. Like, if you've seen her in these movies and you're like, Letitia Wright, she's whatever, blah, 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 go to Amazon Prime right now, go to the small axe series, watch Mangrove. It's 2.5 hours. It's a great courtroom drama. Steve McQueen fucking kills it. But Letitia Wright, I thought was going to get an Oscar nom because she was that good in it. But, it's fine.
It's a miniseries?
Yeah, it's a miniseries, but each episode is its own movie. If you don't believe in Letitia Wright as an actor, watch Mangrove. She may not believe in the vaccine, but you can believe in her as an actor.
There's this one moment where one of Namor's henchmen have to put a mask on her face. He's like, put this on, and it shows a close-up of her face with the mask going on. And I was kind of like,
I'm her PR person. No comment.
No comment.
And I guess the last thing I want to say is Lupita Nyong'o looks so hot in this movie.
She's so cute. Oh my God. When she first came up on screen, I said, God damn.
Also, she spoke Spanish in this movie, which is amazing because she's Mexican.
Oh, is she Mexican?
Yeah, she was born in Mexico. She's a Mexican citizen. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep, now you know. And that's why when you heard her speak Spanish, she was doing it well because she knows how to speak Spanish. So that was fucking awesome. Let's give our final thoughts. So overall, I think that with Black Panther, Ryan Coogler was stuck in a world that he wasn't familiar with because he was working with a $200 million budget. And doing the same thing this time, I feel like he had a better grip on what he wanted, but he's still constrained by a beast that's bigger than him. And he had a lot to deal with when it came to, writing this whole script and then Chadwick dying after he wrote the whole script and having to rewrite the whole script and having to answer a lot of fucking questions that he simply didn't have to answer, but he went ahead and did it anyway. And he fucking, passed with flying colors as far as that's concerned. He had to deal with, Letitia Wright on set, allegedly, with the COVID shit. And, also after doing all the press. And there's, just a whole lot of other things that comes with just making a movie and making one of these kinds of movies. And the parts that feel like it was directed by him work. And there's a bunch of shit that feels like Kevin Feige had his grubby little fucking fingers on it. doesn't work, and you can feel it when it happens. You can feel the pacing get worse. You can feel the visual effects taking over, and it just becomes a fucking mess. And I really wish those first 2/3 got to carry through, and yeah, it's unfortunate. But I think this movie overall is better than the first one. And I'm giving Black Panther Wakanda Forever a 6 out of 10. Could be a 5 in the future, but I don't see it being above a 6.
Very good. I really thought going into this movie that I was just going to have more superhero movie fatigue. I'm very happy this movie wasn't your generic Marvel CGI bullshit besides the third act. And I really did have a good time. I smiled a lot. And that's all I ask for with these movies. Well, these Marvel movies, I guess. I expect more from Batman films, low-key, because he's my favorite and I'm biased. But yeah, it felt like an actual movie first and a superhero fiasco movie second. And I had a great time. I liked all the messages about vengeance. I liked the parallels between Namor and Shuri. And it's definitely, I would say, maybe one of my favorite Marvel movies. Not sure. Even though a lot of them are kind of 6 out of 10s. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10.
Wow, a 7?
Yes, sir.
Goddamn. Okay. Well, if you enjoyed this video, hit. Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
Wait. I forgot. People are calling this movie woke.
Are they?
Yes.
Is it because it has black women as the lead?
Yes. The whole
Oh my
first movie was about
God.
black male rage. And this movie is about how black women deal with black male rage. And the fucking Chadwick is dead. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
The internet is undefeated, I swear to God.
I love when a Marvel movie comes out because then I can go on Twitter and read the dumbest thing I've ever heard a lot.
Yeah.
And constantly surprising. Like, woke doesn't mean anything anymore. The word woke
It's so stupid.
doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. It's insane. Woke used to mean knowing the right thing. Like, staying woke. Stay woke. Bow, 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 bow. Like, it used to mean something. And then white people heard it. And now woke just means black women. That's all it means. I fucking hate nerds. I hate nerds. I hate the nerds on YouTube. They are so fucking stupid. They're incels and I hate them. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you agree or disagree, tell us in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share with your friends. Do all the things.
Matrix videos coming soon.
Yeah, and fuck nerds. Goodbye.
Bye.
You have to get past the Avengers and Marvel shit at some point, okay? Other f***ing people make movies.